A ceremonial welcome in Jakarta and a diplomatic sidestep on Russia's request for an Indonesian airbase.
It's a real shame when Prime Minister Albanese met with Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto last week in Jakarta that our PM did not dare to bring up the issue of human rights violations in West Papua, Australia's nearest neighbour, which Indonesia took by force of weapons in 1969.
Anthony Albanese was greeted with lavish ceremonies describing President Prabowo Subianto as an indispensable partner. These, the first face-to-face talks since Indonesia rejected a Russian ploy to base military aircraft within its borders.
Albo, the champion of the little Aussie battler, and the oppressed workers had bigger fish to fry than to tread on the toes of the former general, now turned respectable president of the world's fourth largest nation.
A grand procession, the trademark Jakarta traffic generated by a colossal cavalry. What's been a tradition of elected Australian leaders for more than 2 decades.
I wanted to make sure that Indonesia was the first destination.
The fact that we are neighbours has never been decided by us. It's been decided by the universe.
Neighbours who indulge in late-night conversations.
The former Army General Prabowo was intimately involved with and knows firsthand of the murder, rape and torture of many tens of thousands of Indigenous West Papuans when he served as their senior officer and son-in-law to the violent dictator General Soeharto. The only crime committed by Indigenous Papuans who emerged out of the Stone Age in the 1950s and 60s was to want their country back, free of the brutal Indonesian military. When Prabowo was officer in charge in East Timor, he oversaw the massacre of 300 women, children and unarmed men in the East Timorese village of Krasis. Albanese, the little man's champion, would have known of all of Prabowo's past crimes, having been briefed before his trip to Jakarta last week by DFAT, Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade.
We had a really good chat about elections, about the state of the world, and it was a great honour.
He would know of Australia's complicity with the Western big powers of the United States, Britain and France in 1969 to grab and annex the vast riches that still exist in West Papua today, in gold and copper, oil and gas, inestimable wealth. Trillions of dollars of resources wealth has already been ripped out of West Papua, and West Papua's luxuriant old-growth rainforests, and replaced by palm oil plantations that stretch as far as the eye can see, owned by greedy Indonesian generals and the rich of Jakarta like President Prabowo.
The chat kept coming. Afternoon discussions on regional security overshadowed by a reported Russian ploy to base military aircraft within Indonesia's borders.
In discussing Russian jets and trade opportunities with the besooted former killer president, Albanese last week, like so many other Labor Prime Ministers before him, Kevin Rudd, Gillard, Keating, Hawke and even Albo's hero Gough Whitlam, they all turned a blind eye to the slow genocide taking place in West Papua and what Indonesia did to a third of the population of East Timor. Slow burn genocide, not quick like Netanyahu is doing in Gaza today.
The Israeli military issued an evacuation order late Tuesday night, saying it was targeting militants in the north.
جرينا اجراء لقينا نحن على الارض البنات هذه والمراه هذه والطفل هذا.
Nearby hospitals quickly became overrun. Mothers and fathers screaming over small white shrouds stained red.
That is the world, folks, we're handing on to our children, that we're taking us down the road which will inevitably end up in a nuclear war in which there will be no winners, only rubble like Gaza and the Ukraine today. If we, the people, don't grab the handbrake now and demand that our so-called leaders stop the car we want to get out, we don't want to be trapped by their madness anymore. My fellow Australians, we must persist, never give up. Demand of our leaders, Albanese, Richard Marles and the Labor Party to stop. We want to get out.